The research vessel Nexus 7 hung in low Earth orbit like a crystalline pendant, its transparent hull allowing its crew to observe the blue planet below. Science officer Zara Vex pressed her scaled hands against the observation dome, all four of her eyes widening as she studied the readings scrolling across her neural interface. "Impossible," she whispered, her bioluminescent spots pulsing with excitement. "Commander Rathic, you need to see this." The ship's commander, a towering figure with iridescent exoskeleton plates, glided across the bridge on anti-grav stabilizers. "What have you found, Officer Vex?" "The baseline resilience ratings of even their smallest organisms." She gestured to a holographic display showing microscopic creatures swimming in a water sample. "They're off the charts. Look at this one. It can survive in the vacuum of space, extreme radiation, and temperatures that would vaporize most known life forms." Commander Rathic's antenna twitched skeptically. "Surely this is an anomaly." "No, sir. It gets more extraordinary." Zara brought up another hologram, this one showing a small mammalian creature with black and white stripes. "We've designated this one Subject H-137. Watch." The footage showed the creature fearlessly charging into a nest of venomous serpents, taking multiple bites that would kill most beings instantly, yet continuing its attack undeterred. The bridge crew gathered around, mandibles clicking in disbelief. "That's not even the most remarkable part," Zora continued. "Its metabolism somehow neutralizes the venom. It's not just resistant, it's virtually immune to toxins that could kill creatures 100 times its size." Chief Biologist Nix Krell, whose crystalline body structure reflected the bridge's ambient lighting, interfaced with the ship's database. "According to our preliminary scans, nearly every ecological niche on this planet contains similarly enhanced organisms. Even their herbivores display combat capabilities that rival our military-grade bioconstructs." Commander Rathic's exoskeleton darkened, a sign of deep concern. "Show me more." The next hours were spent reviewing footage from their probe droids. They watched as creatures called squirrels survived falls that should have shattered their bones, only to scamper away unharmed. They observed woodpeckers repeatedly slamming their heads against solid objects with forces that would concuss most species, yet showing no signs of damage. "The most disturbing aspect," Nix added, manipulating the holographic display, "is their adaptability. These organisms don't just survive, they thrive in conditions that would be considered extreme on any other world." The ship's tactical officer, Krixvor, a being composed of living metal, joined the discussion. "From a military perspective, these creatures exhibit characteristics we've spent centuries trying to engineer into our bioweapons. Yet these capabilities emerged naturally here." Zara pulled up another recording, this one showing a small aquatic creature called an octopus squeezing through an opening barely larger than its eye. Their problem-solving abilities are equally concerning. This specimen not only escaped our containment unit, but managed to disable 3 security systems in the process. Commander Rathic's crystalline claws clicked against the ship's control panel. "How did we miss this?" This planet was classified as a standard Class M biosphere during our initial survey. The preliminary scans were focused on atmospheric composition and basic life signs, Zora explained. "We never thought to look for." She paused, searching for the right words. "For living weapons." "Sir," Crix interrupted, his metallic form shifting anxiously. "I've been analyzing the planet's dominant species, the humans. Given what we've seen of the wildlife they've evolved alongside." He left the implications hanging in the air. Commander Rathic understood the unspoken concern. If these were the creatures the humans considered pets and prey, what did that say about the humans themselves? "New protocol effective immediately," he announced, his voice resonating through the ship's crystal corridors. "All research teams are to operate under maximum security measures. No direct contact with Earth specimens without full containment procedures in place." As if to emphasize his point, an alert flashed across their screens. One of their specimen containers had been breached. Security footage showed a small creature they classified as harmless, something called a raccoon, methodically dismantling the locking mechanism with its surprisingly dexterous paws. Officer Vex, Commander Rathic's voice was grave. Prepare a preliminary report for Central Command. Classification: urgent. Subject: previously unknown biological threat level. And he paused, watching as the raccoon cleverly used a piece of the broken container to fish out another specimen it had apparently befriended. Mark this planet for advanced containment protocols. As the crew scrambled to respond to the security breach, Zara couldn't help but wonder what other surprises this deceptively beautiful blue world held. They had come seeking new life forms to catalog and study. Instead, they had found an entire planet of evolutionary marvels that defied their understanding of what life could be. The truth was becoming clear. Earth wasn't just another world with interesting wildlife. It was a crucible that had forged every living thing on it into a survivor, a fighter, a weapon. And they had only scratched the surface of its mysteries. The research vessel's containment level hummed with enhanced force fields as Science Officer Zara Vex and Chief Biologist Nex Krell reviewed footage from their latest expedition probes. 3 solar cycles had passed since their initial discoveries, and each new observation only deepened their unease about Earth's extraordinary fauna. Thermal imaging analysis complete, Nix announced, his crystalline form refracting the holographic data streaming around them. You're not going to believe these readings from the Arctic region. The display shifted to show a massive marine mammal gliding beneath the ice sheets. Its streamlined form belied its true size, larger than their ship's primary shuttle. The specimen, which locals call an orca, can dive to depths that would crush our deepest-rated submersibles, Zara noted, her bioluminescent spots pulsing with a mixture of fear and fascination. But that's not what concerns me. Watch this hunting sequence. The footage showed a pod of orcas working in perfect coordination, creating waves to wash a seal off an ice floe. The level of strategic thinking displayed was disturbing enough, but what happened next caused even Commander Rathic, who had just entered the lab, to step back. They're teaching their young, he observed, his antenna rigid with attention. They're deliberately passing on hunting techniques. Correct, Zara confirmed. And each pod has developed unique strategies. They're not just surviving in their environment. They're innovating, adapting, and educating future generations. The commander's exoskeleton shifted to a deeper shade of concern. Show me the other apex predator data. Nix interfaced with the ship's database, bringing up a new series of recordings. This one is designated Panthera tigris, a solitary ambush predator that can take down prey several times its size. Its bite force exceeds our strongest military-grade alloys. The footage showed a tiger moving through dense jungle, its striped form nearly invisible until the moment it struck. The speed and power of its attack caused several junior researchers to flinch. But here's what truly concerns us, Zora continued, switching to another recording. This is from the Australian continent. The image showed what appeared to be a relatively small reptilian creature, barely longer than a standard measurement unit. Size is deceiving, she explained. This monitor lizard possesses a bite that combines physical trauma with toxic bacterial compounds. Even if prey escapes, the combination proves lethal within hours. Commander Rathic's claws clicked against his command console. You're telling me even their smaller predators have engineered biological weapons? Not engineered, sir, Nix corrected. Evolved. Naturally. And that's just the beginning. The next series of images showcased creatures that seemed to defy the laws of nature itself. A spider that could catch and consume birds in mid-flight. A serpent that could accurately strike at targets in complete darkness using heat detection. A seemingly primitive fish that could generate enough electricity to stun creatures many times its size. The most alarming discovery, Zara added, pulling up new data, involves their pack hunters. The display showed a group of wolves coordinating an attack with efficiency that rivaled military special operations. They demonstrate strategic thinking, role specialization, and adaptive tactics that we previously thought required advanced intelligence. Tactical Officer Crix Vor, who had been silently analyzing the data, finally spoke. These creatures aren't just surviving. They're waging war. Every aspect of their biology is weaponized. Their senses, their bodies, even their hunting strategies. There's more, Nyx said grimly. We've detected evidence of rapid evolutionary adaptation occurring in urban areas where these creatures interact with human civilization. They're not just surviving human encroachment. They're learning from it. The evidence was undeniable. Footage showed ravens using cars to crack nuts, octopi manipulating human-made tools, and bears figuring out increasingly complex storage containers. Each species demonstrated an uncomfortable level of problem-solving ability. Sir, Zara addressed Commander Rafik, I believe we need to upgrade our classification of this planet. This isn't just a world of enhanced biological capabilities. It's an arsenal of evolutionary innovations that could destabilize the entire galaxy if they ever spread beyond this system. The commander absorbed this information in silence, watching as more footage streamed across the displays. A wolverine fighting off predators many times its size. A seemingly docile herbivore, a hippopotamus, displaying devastating territorial aggression. Each new example reinforced the growing realization that they had stumbled upon something unprecedented in their centuries of xenobiological research. Implement Maximum Containment Protocol Omega, he finally ordered, his voice resonating with authority. No specimens leave this planet without triple redundant security measures. And he paused, watching as a small primate effortlessly dismantled another secure observation device. Prepare for Phase 3 of our investigation. Phase 3, sir? Crix inquired, though the metallic beam's resonance suggested he already knew the answer. Yes, Commander Rafik confirmed. It's time we took a closer look at the species that not only survives alongside these living weapons, but has managed to become the dominant force on this planet. Tell me everything you know about humans. As the research team began compiling their data for the next phase, alarms blared throughout the ship. Another containment breach was in progress. This time, footage showed a seemingly simple corvid, a crow, had not only escaped its enclosure but had also appeared to deliberately create a diversion that allowed several other specimens to escape as well. The truth was becoming increasingly clear. On Earth, even the smallest, most unassuming creatures could prove to be formidable adversaries. And somewhere below, an entire species had evolved to become master of this world of living weapons. The implications were as fascinating as they were terrifying. The observation deck of Nexus 7 had been converted into an emergency conference chamber, its crystalline walls now opaque with countless data streams and analysis reports. Commander Rafik faced his assembled research team, their latest findings casting long shadows over their original mission parameters. Begin your report. Officer Vex, he ordered, all four of his primary sensory nodes focused intently on his chief scientist. Zara's bioluminescent patterns flickered with nervous energy as she initiated the holographic display. Our preliminary analysis of humans has revealed something unprecedented. We believed we were studying the dominant species of a death world, but the reality is far more complex. The central display showed humans in various environments, from Arctic tundra to scorching deserts. First, their environmental adaptation range is absurd, she continued. While other species specialize in specific biomes, humans can survive and thrive almost anywhere. Nyx Krell interfaced with the ship's database, adding his own findings. Their endurance capabilities defy conventional biological limits. Observe this footage. The display showed humans participating in something called an ultramarathon across a brutal desert landscape. They can maintain continuous physical activity for periods that would exhaust most predatory species, Nyx explained. They don't outrun their prey. They pursue it until it collapses from exhaustion. That's not the most disturbing part. Tactical Officer Crix interjected, his metallic form shifting uneasily. Show them the recovery footage. New images appeared, displaying humans recovering from various injuries that should have been fatal. Their healing capabilities are remarkable, Zora continued. They can survive injuries that would kill most species, regenerate damaged tissue, and even adapt their bone density to new environmental pressures. But surely they must have weaknesses, Commander Rathik pressed, his exoskeleton darkening with concern. That's just it, sir, Zora replied. Their greatest strength isn't their physical resilience. It's their ability to compensate for their weaknesses through tool use and strategic thinking. The display shifted to show humans using various technologies and weapons. They've developed artificial means to enhance every aspect of their natural capabilities. They've created devices to see in darkness, breathe underwater, survive in space, and modify their environment to suit their needs. And their social structures, Nix added, are unlike anything we've encountered. They form complex cooperative networks that can span their entire planet. They share knowledge across generations and geographic boundaries, accelerating their adaptive capabilities far beyond normal evolutionary timeframes. The command chamber fell silent as footage played of humans working with various Earth species, training wolves into companions, riding atop massive equines, using birds for hunting, and even communicating with marine mammals. They haven't just survived alongside the living weapons we documented, Crix observed. They've formed alliances with them, taught them, learned from them. In some cases, they've even improved upon natural capabilities through selective breeding. Commander Rathik's antenna twitched as he processed this information. Show me their combat capabilities. The resulting display caused several junior researchers to back away from their stations. Humans engaging in various martial arts, demonstrating weapon proficiency, and showcasing tactical operations that rivaled anything in the known galaxy. They turned combat into an art form, Crix explained, his tactical matrices struggling to process the implications. They can analyze, adapt to, and counter almost any fighting style they encounter. More importantly, they can teach these skills to others with remarkable efficiency. But here's what truly sets them apart, Zora said, bringing up new data streams. Their problem-solving capabilities appear to be enhanced by stress rather than hindered by it. When faced with danger or challenges, they don't just survive, they innovate. The evidence was compelling. Humans creating solutions to seemingly impossible problems, developing new technologies in response to threats, and consistently finding ways to thrive in conditions that should have eliminated them. There's one more thing, Commander, Nix added hesitantly. We've detected signs that they're aware of being observed. Several of our probes have been deliberately avoided, and we've recorded instances of humans looking directly at our cloaked observation drones. This revelation sent a wave of unease through the command chamber. Commander Rathik's exoskeleton shifted to its deepest shade yet. Are you suggesting they've known about us this entire time? We can't be certain, Zora replied, but their literature and entertainment media suggest they've long anticipated contact with extraterrestrial life. They'd been preparing for it, imagining countless scenarios, and she paused, her bioluminescence dimming slightly, developing potential responses to both peaceful and hostile interactions. The implications hung heavy in the chamber's crystalline air. They had come to study what they thought was merely an unusually dangerous planetary ecosystem. Instead, they had found a species that had not only mastered their death world, but had turned its challenges into advantages. New priority, Commander Rathik announced, his voice carrying the weight of command. I want to know everything about their defensive capabilities, their space exploration progress, and most importantly, their intentions toward other civilizations. As if in response to his words, a new alert flashed across their screens. Several human satellites had adjusted their orbits in a pattern that couldn't be coincidental. They were being tracked. The question was no longer whether Earth's wildlife qualified as living weapons. The question was, what would the masters of these weapons do once they officially made contact with the wider galaxy? The Emergency Council chamber aboard Nexus 7, crackled with tension as representatives from various scientific divisions engaged in heated debate. The crystalline walls pulsed with warning hues, reflecting the gravity of their discussion about Earth's classification status. Science officer Zara Vex stood at the center of the chamber, her latest findings projected in vivid detail around them. The traditional classification system is simply inadequate, she argued, her bioluminescent patterns flashing with intensity. We need an entirely new category. Preposterous, countered senior taxonomist Vrel Lennox, his gelatinous form rippling with disagreement. Our classification system has served us for 10,000 cycles. It accounts for every known form of life in the galaxy. Every known form until now, Commander Rathick interjected, his exoskeleton reflecting the serious nature of the discussion. Show them the convergence data, Officer Vex. The holographic display shifted to show a complex web of evolutionary patterns across Earth's species. Look at this, Zora directed, highlighting specific nodes in the data. We're seeing the same combat and survival capabilities emerging independently across completely different species groups. It's as if the entire planet is a forge for creating weapons. Chief Biologist Nix Krell interfaced with the display, adding new layers of data. Consider the poison dart frog, he said, bringing up an image of a tiny, brilliantly colored amphibian. Its toxins are potent enough to kill thousands of beings our size. Yet it's not even considered one of Earth's more dangerous species. That's precisely my point, Vrel countered, extending a pseudopod toward the display. If we start creating special classifications for every deadly creature, it's not just about being deadly, Tactical Officer Crix interrupted, his metallic form resonating with urgency. These organisms aren't just surviving. They're innovating, adapting, and in many cases, demonstrating intelligence far beyond their apparent evolutionary stage. The display shifted to show recent footage. A group of dolphins coordinating complex hunting strategies, elephants using tools, and corvids solving multi-step puzzles that would challenge most sentient species. And then there's this, Zora added, bringing up new data. We've detected significant increases in cognitive capabilities among species that regularly interact with humans. They're not just being influenced by human presence, they're learning from it. The chamber erupted in concerned murmurs as footage showed urban wildlife demonstrating increasingly sophisticated behaviors. Raccoons defeating raccoon-proof containers, crows using traffic patterns to crack nuts, and octopi escaping tanks through seemingly impossible routes. The implications are staggering, Nix continued, his crystalline form refracting the data streams around him. Earth isn't just producing individual living weapons. It's creating weapons that can teach themselves to be more effective. Commander Rathick raised a claw for silence. What concerns me most is the speed of adaptation. Show them the urban evolution data. New charts appeared, displaying rapid evolutionary changes in urban wildlife populations. Species were developing new hunting strategies, communication methods, and problem-solving abilities within mere generations. An unprecedented rate of adaptation. This goes beyond normal evolutionary patterns, Zora explained. These creatures aren't just adapting to survive humans. They're adapting to thrive alongside them. Some are even beginning to demonstrate rudimentary technological understanding. Impossible, Vrel protested, though his gelatinous form had paled considerably. No ecosystem could produce such rapid changes naturally. Unless, Crix suggested, his tactical matrices processing furiously, the presence of humans acts as an evolutionary accelerant. Their technology, their structures, their very presence creates new selection pressures that force rapid adaptation. The display shifted to show various Earth species demonstrating unexpected behaviors. Bears learning to open car doors, parrots mimicking complex mechanical sounds, and octopi manipulating human-made objects with surprising precision. We need to consider the possibility, Commander Rathick said gravely, that Earth isn't just a planet of living weapons. It's an incubator for creating increasingly sophisticated ones. And the humans? Vrel asked, his scientific skepticism finally wavering. "They're the catalyst," Zara responded, bringing up new analysis charts. "Their presence doesn't just influence evolution, it accelerates it. Species that coexist with humans show marked increases in problem-solving abilities, tool use, and adaptive behaviors." The implications hung heavy in the chamber's artificially maintained atmosphere. If Earth's wildlife was this dangerous under natural conditions, what would happen as human civilization continued to expand and influence their evolution? "There's one more thing," Nix added hesitantly. "We've detected signs of deliberate human intervention in certain species development. They're not just observing these adaptations, they're starting to guide them." The chamber fell silent as footage played of human genetic research facilities, wildlife rehabilitation centers, and conservation projects. They weren't just living alongside Earth's weapons. They were actively working to preserve, understand, and potentially enhance them. Commander Rathic's exoskeleton darkened to its most serious hue. "Prepare a special classification report for Central Command. Earth cannot be categorized under our standard system. This planet isn't just hosting living weapons, it's manufacturing them at an accelerating rate." As if to emphasize his point, new alerts flashed across their screens. Their latest stealth probe, designed with technology that should have been undetectable, had been not only discovered but was being systematically examined by a group of curious corvids, while a human recorded the entire incident. The question was no longer whether Earth deserved a special classification. The question was whether the galaxy was ready for what Earth and its inhabitants might become. The command bridge of Nexus 7 had transformed into a secure transmission chamber as Commander Rathic prepared to deliver their final report to the Galactic Council. The crystalline walls were now completely opaque, secured against any possible surveillance, whether from Earth's increasingly aware wildlife or its mysteriously perceptive inhabitants. "Begin transmission protocol," Commander Rathic ordered, his exoskeleton shifting through complex patterns that verified his identity to the Council's quantum authentication systems. The holographic representations of 12 Council members materialized around them, their diverse forms representing the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. Science Officer Zara Vex stood ready with their final analysis, her bioluminescence dimmed to its most formal setting. "Honorable Council," Commander Rathic began, "what we discovered on Earth requires immediate attention and potentially a complete revision of our contact protocols." The display activated, showing a comprehensive overview of their findings. "Earth is not merely a death world," Zara explained, her voice steady despite her obvious tension. "It is something entirely new, a weapon forge disguised as an ecosystem." "Explain," demanded Council Member Vex-4, their energy form flickering with interest. "Every aspect of life on Earth has evolved toward combat efficiency," Zara continued, bringing up their compiled data. "But unlike traditional death worlds, where organisms simply develop lethal capabilities, Earth's wildlife demonstrates something more disturbing: strategic adaptation." Chief Biologist Nix Krell interfaced with the display, adding layer upon layer of evidence. "Consider this sequence," he said, showing footage of various Earth species demonstrating impossible feats of survival. These aren't just creatures fighting for survival. They're actively evolving new ways to overcome challenges, then teaching these methods to others. "Most concerning," Tactical Officer Crix added, his metallic form resonating with urgency, "is the acceleration effect we've observed. Species that interact with humans show marked increases in problem-solving abilities and adaptive behaviors." The council chambers filled with murmurs of concern as they watched footage of Earth's wildlife demonstrating increasingly sophisticated behaviors. But it was the next revelation that caused true alarm. "We've detected evidence," Zara announced, "that humans are aware of their world's unique nature and are actively studying ways to preserve and potentially enhance these capabilities." The display showed human research facilities, conservation efforts, and rehabilitation centers. "They're not just surviving alongside these living weapons," Commander Rathic explained. "They're cataloging them, understanding them, and in some cases, improving upon natural adaptations and their own capabilities, asked Council member Xerax, their crystalline form shimmering with concern. Beyond anything we anticipated, Crix responded, bringing up new data. Humans have turned their understanding of Earth's weapons into technological innovations. Their military systems often mimic the natural weapons they've observed. Their medical advances are inspired by creatures that can regenerate or survive extreme conditions. But here's what truly concerns us, Zora continued, her bioluminescence pulsing with emphasis. They're reaching for the stars. Their space program is advancing rapidly, and they're already looking beyond their solar system. The implications hung heavy in the quantum-encrypted transmission. Earth wasn't just a planet of living weapons. It was a planet of living weapons about to gain access to interstellar travel. "We have 3 recommendations," Commander Rathick announced. First, Earth must be classified under a new category, evolutionary weapon forge. Second, all standard contact protocols must be suspended. Traditional diplomatic approaches could be catastrophically inadequate. He paused, his exoskeleton darkening to its most serious shade. And third, we recommend immediate preparation for inevitable contact. Earth will reach the stars with or without our intervention. The question is whether we'll be ready when they do. The council chambers erupted in debate, but a new alert suddenly cut through their discussion. Their ship's sensors had detected something unprecedented. A coordinated pattern of movement among Earth's satellites, suggesting they had been under observation the entire time. "There's one final thing," Zora added, her voice carrying above the chaos. "We believe humans have been aware of our presence from the beginning. They've been studying us just as we've been studying them." The display showed countless instances of subtle acknowledgement. Satellites adjusting their orbits to track the Nexus 7, wildlife behaving in ways that suggested human guidance, and most worryingly, evidence that their supposedly covert probes had been discovered and examined. "We came to study what we thought was a dangerous planet," Commander Rathick concluded. "Instead, we found something unprecedented. A world where every living thing is evolving into a more effective weapon, guided by a species that has mastered their power while developing their own technological capabilities." The Council's decision was unanimous and immediate. Earth would receive its unique classification, and all civilizations would be notified to prepare for eventual contact. The question was no longer whether Earth's wildlife qualified as living weapons, but whether the galaxy was ready for what Earth might become once it joined the interstellar community. As the transmission ended, the crew of Nexus 7 began their preparations for departure. But as they made their final observations, they couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't leaving Earth behind. They were simply giving its inhabitants time to perfect their arsenal before they chose to reveal themselves to the galaxy. The age of Earth's isolation was ending. The age of the living weapons was about to begin.